Hey everybody. Okay, here I am a week later with part 5 of my Space 1999 Eagle 2 build. I sometimes forget how complicated this can be. You need to plan ahead and you need to figure out how you're going to paint and what color you're going to use and what base color you're going to use and all that kind of stuff, because sure, you can build the whole thing and put it together, but then you all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, well, how is this going to work now? Because everything's together and it's harder for me to paint some things. So I've gotten some progress, as you can see. I used on some parts Rust-Oleum flat gray primer. Okay, it was a very nice and hot day today. Hot, low humidity, relatively low humidity in Florida. It was 91 degrees out. So the can got warm and I left the parts outside in the sun, and that's just a great combination. So as you can see here, I painted this, or primed it gray. I went with the gray. Been watching some videos from this guy Lou with Aztec Dummy. Lou, you're awesome if you're watching this. So I'm gonna take a few cues from him, and basically he starts it with a dark gray and then puts some black spots and then starts lighting things up with some lighter grays or darker whites, and so I'm gonna try that. Okay, I got this primed today and I just use these rockets as sort of a stand to put it down when I was painting the top. So I'm gonna paint some areas darker than others. I may paint this instead of decals. I'm not quite sure yet. I've never done that before, but sure, if you're able to mask correctly, then that should be just fine. So I got this primed today. I got the capsule primed as well, and this seems to look pretty well. Okay. And make sure you got that, because sometimes this camera is a little slow when focusing. Okay, so this again, the centerpiece silver parts, that I'm going to put those in at the very end after everything's painted. Same thing with the glass. No need to put the glass in now just to mask it off. Put that at the very end. Okay, I also, on some of the white parts, this is a new product I've never used before, Vallejo, which I use their little bottle paints, okay, like these. I've just recently found out they have primers and general spray paint. So this is a white primer, and this went on really well. This is about like 10-11 bucks. So this cost about as much as a Tamiya primer, except this is 400 milliliters, so that's double the size. And yes, this goes on pretty well. It's light and thin, so it doesn't cover too much. Admittedly, the Rust-Oleum is a bit thicker. Like right now, the surface of the pod is a little tacky, so I'll have to wait maybe a day or two before it completely dries. But I can start painting on it. I've done that before. It's not a big deal. So this is a little heavier, but and this is only $4 versus this is $10 or $11. But this is not a lot nicer for finer areas. And also, there are certain parts of the Eagle that I kind of wanted to start off white. Like this is primed as of today, and I think it looks pretty well. Same thing with the figures. I primed both figures today, and I'd rather have them in white than in gray or black. Okay, and actually, after looking at this real carefully, there's a few little spots I have to sort of fix, like between his feet. There's some material I should be able to shave that off, and some lines I need to shave off. But this went on really nice. Okay, this primer. And here's a gas tank, a fuel tank. I did a couple of these also, and that went on really well. Okay, so as far as the walkways, hallways, whatever you want to call these, I did these in gray because these will be greasier, dirtier than the outside cages. So I start with gray. I'm going to put some black paint, whatever stuff around here. And then after I put it inside the cages, speaking of the cages, okay, I hold on. I primed the outside cages white, okay, and I did these side things in gray. So again, these go along with these, and then these white parts go on the outside to form the cage. So I made these in white. So that way, when I start spraying lighter grays and then the actual white, I'm going to use the interior portions will look dirtier and darker than the outside, which is the effect you want for the eagle anyway. What else did I do? And I won't say as much, I promise. I put together these pads, and these are two parts. There's the one part goes into the other, and there's some gaps in there. Okay, let me show you another one. Because what I did was, did I do all of them already? Well, anyway, let me show you one of the smaller ones here for a sec. Hold on. Okay, this is one of the smaller ones, but it's basically the same as the larger ones, except these are smaller gaps. But when you put this piece inside this other piece, you get that gap. Okay, you get that gap all the way around. So you can either fill that with putty and sand it. Okay, and what I did was I tried two different ways. All right, first I'd use some sprue glue and just filled it in all the way around, and then I sanded it. Okay, and here's one of the ones I did. Nope, I did not do that one. Hold on. I did that method, and that method seemed to work. Hoping this is coming out, guys, as far as focus. That seemed to work pretty well. I also did the following method. I took one, like let's say this one, and if you start sanding, let me demonstrate. Hopefully this will work here. You start sanding, okay. As you start sanding, the bits of the plastic start going into that void. So once you have that in there, instead of wiping it off, take some of your Tamiya extra thin cement, okay, and just drop it in there. Just drop it in there once with that all filled in there. Just drop it in there, and as you do that all the way around, as you do that all the way around, it'll make a nice little perimeter there, and then you sand that whole thing off, and it should look pretty well. Let's see. I think I did that one on this one. No. See what happens? I do some, and then I don't the other, and I can't figure it out. This one was sprue glue. Okay, this is a larger one, and I'm hoping that when I prime this will look really, really good. Okay, so I'll figure out. Probably need to sand it a little bit more. Another look at it, but you get the idea. There's just two possibilities. I'm sort of experimenting with it, because the thing with all these putties, they shrink. Okay, and that's an issue, because you do it one night and you're like, all right, perfect. You come back out tomorrow or the next afternoon, and you look at it, and all of a sudden you've got a gap where you thought it was full. So you want to try to use sprue whenever possible. So either make your little sprue glue, which is basically half a bottle of this or a third of the bottle of this extra thin cement, and start tossing in the spare, all the spare sprue that you're not using. Just start cutting them in small pieces and tossing them in there, and then all of a sudden you get this nice gooey thing that is basically melted sprue. And I'm sorry, my camera's not focusing very well right now, I don't think. You get this gooey goo, and this gooey goo is basically white sprue with the cement. So you pour that in any spot you need to fill, and that works out really well. So I guess that's all I got for today. So hopefully I'll get some more shading in, some more painting, and I hope that I can give you a better update by next week. I mean, I get so little time to model. I wish I had more time to. I only get like a few hours on a Saturday and a few hours on a Sunday, and every other time I'm either doing stuff for the house or working. So, but anyways, it's I don't mind. I don't want to rush these. You know, nice and easy, and get it right. If you get a, if you do it really well, then it didn't matter how long it took once it's done. So, all right, guys. Until the next time.